Welcome to Prime Life Radio, a place where you, the health conscious and fitness focused, come together to strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and optimize your wellness. My name is Mark Abanig, and it's my honor to be your host. Here at Prime Life Radio, you'll never have to worry about all the noise and confusion of the fitness industry, because we're going to focus on proven, actionable steps to create the body and life that you want. So you've lost those first few or first dozen or so pounds and want to start achieving some more targeted goals for yourself. Certain physique or performance goals for sports may demand this level of specificity. While there are systems you can go by to find the right weight for you, it ultimately depends on the demands of the lifestyle you're building for yourself. Before we continue, I want to quickly ask you to help me grow this show so we can share information like this with other like-minded people and grow our tribe. Give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Also make sure to hit that notification bell so you can instantly know when a new episode is up. Make sure you stick around until the very end to find the absolute best way to find the ideal body weight for you. Like I mentioned before, we're going to break it down into 3 of the most common methods for finding your ideal body weight. BMI, or body mass index. The basis for what would later be called BMI was created between 1830 and 1850. It wasn't until 1972 that a group of scientists, including Ansel Keys, coined the phrase BMI. While BMI is usually calculated in kilograms, you can find your BMI using weight in pounds and height in inches. This would be mass, or weight in pounds divided by height squared, or height times itself. You would then multiply that number with 703 to convert to kilograms and find your BMI. What that would look like for me, for example, is my weight of 178 pounds divided by my height in inches squared, or 69 by 69. This would yield me 0.038. I then multiply that number with 703, giving me a BMI of 26.2. For a 5'9" male, that actually puts me above the healthy range of 128 to 162 for my size. This actually shows us that the limitation of BMI in that you were a more muscular person, it would tend to show that you're actually overweight. While a good physician should understand that there are other things to look at other than BMI to determine your overall health, it's also important for you to understand and consider that overweight on this scale doesn't particularly mean you're unhealthy. We can actually use these numbers as a reference, and as long as you're working with a good doctor, you should be able to see if you have any issues or not. Waist to hip ratio. While waist to hip ratio can help you figure out a general number to define your physique, it doesn't actually involve a scale weight. Generally, it's used to measure obesity. This can also help to indicate any other possible health conditions. Oftentimes, someone with a waist that's larger than their hips is outside the norm, with exceptions for instances like pregnancy. For men, this is usually a WHR of 0.90 and 0.85 for women. To find your waist to hip ratio, you have to find your circumference of your waist and your hips. For your waist, find the soft area just above your hip bones, below your rib cage. Hold the end of your tape measure at your belly button and bring the other end around to the front, making sure the tape is parallel to the floor and there are no bunches or twists. For your hips, wrap the tape at the area of your widest part of your glutes. Remember to make sure it's parallel to the floor. Once you have both these measurements, take the waist number and divide it by the hip number. This will give you your hip to waist ratio. Again, while this may not quite give you the exact target weight for your body, it is a much better way of assessing your health status and can be a good complement to BMI. Waist to height ratio. Also referred to as waist to stature ratio, waist to height ratio is a measurement around your waist divided by your height. Just remember to measure both in the same units. Waist to height ratio, like waist to hip ratio, doesn't actually give you a scale weight. Instead, it helps you determine the distribution of body fat, with higher numbers being a sign of higher risk for heart-related diseases. Healthy ranges for men are between 0.43 to 0.52, and for women being 0.42 to 0.48. The best way to find your ideal target weight. While BMI, waist to hip ratio, and waist to height ratio can give us a general idea of where our weight should fall, ultimately our lifestyle preferences will determine what the most optimum weight is for every one of us. In the case of BMI, being at the higher ranges for your particular height and weight may not mean you're diseased. It may just be a reflection of your level of training and the amount of muscle you have on your particular frame. As far as waist to hip ratio and waist to height ratio goes, you really can't establish a specific weight for your height because neither really specifies ideal weight ranges for your body type. What I've found when working with clients is a bit of a mix. First, figure out what weight seems appropriate for your height. Personally, 128 pounds at a 5'9" frame would be way too small for me. Taking into account the weight I've been comfortable at for almost 20 years, as well as my choice in competing in powerlifting as a sport, the most optimal weight for me is between 165 to 175 pounds. I've gone up as high as 192 in the past. Still, even though I was technically overweight, I wasn't obese. I was able to perform optimally for my chosen activities, only really having a little bit of a challenge being able to carry heavier weights when doing activities at longer distances. When working with clients, I find this approach tends to be most helpful. We set a target range using BMI and aim to meet that with expectations of their day-to-day. Sometimes those numbers can move depending on the changing demands of their lives. I do provide coaching around this area, and we can take time to figure out how to reach your particular fitness goals. That said, it's ultimately individual, and your ideal weight can't be summed up in a table or formula. Thanks for tuning in to Prime Life Radio. Once again, I'm your host, Mark Kabanig. Before we go, I want to make sure that you get the most out of these shows by doing a few key things. First, make sure that you subscribe so I can send you the new episode each time they come out. Make sure to give this a thumbs up if you happen to be watching this on YouTube. Comment below with something you learned from this episode, and make sure that you hit that notification bell so you know each time a new episode is released. Did you hear something that someone in your friends or family could use? Make sure to spread the love and share this episode with them. Now, if you're looking for more personal help, feel free to reach out at myprimalbeing.com to get in touch with me directly, and we can set up a time for a 15-minute call. Thank you again so much for joining me on Prime Life Radio. This has been Mark Kabanig, reminding you that no matter how tough things get, remember to keep fucking going.